Chaos in the Tory party, and I know we are eating well. We are eating well. It has been, what, 2 weeks since the general election was called. It's really sort of kicked off on Friday. Now you've got all the selection of the candidates in, and oh boy, that's what we're talking about. Because this has really ruffled some feathers. Oh, really ruffled some feathers in a incredible way. I would not expect to see, but when you can see the damage this is going to do to this campaign, then this means the Tories are going to possibly lose, well, quite probably lose, what was once a safe seat because of their actions in this case. And honestly, part of me had already been predicting something like this, that you would either get, Tory MPs that would, release their own personal manifestos and run on local issues, not national issues. I'm your local MP, guys, not your national one. I might get mixed up in national politics, but I'm your local one, guys, Um, and that is starting to happen already from what we've been at least seeing in some cases. Expect that to certainly cause more trouble for the Tories. But of course, one of the big problems certainly would be, which we are going to be covering today, what happens? What happens if your foot soldiers don't want to campaign for you? What if instead they would rather go to another seat because they cannot absolutely stand the candidate who's running in your seat? Well, turns out this is happening right now because we've been reporting for quite a while, really since last year, since the boundary changes have sort of been happening, that many of these new-ish northern sort of Tory MPs have been trying to make a play to do what's called a chicken run down south to try and get a more safer seat. And bear in mind, a lot of Tory local parties have been, since last October, it has now emerged, told, hey, you need to, speed up, getting your candidates in. So that's certainly been an interesting sort of revelation. Certainly now real lending to the credence that maybe Sunak was planning a summer election all along. But again, who knows? Like I say, the only person who can really tell us will be insiders of course, Rishi Sunak, and maybe even Rishi Sunak himself. Like I say, eventually when we get the Rishi at 10 book, we'll probably find out. But we're going to be covering this today because, oh boy, this has hugely rocked the party in such a hilarious way. And don't you just love to see it? Because this is going to lead to more and more chaos. And as we've said before, the more chaos, the more they panic, the worse an outcome is going to be. Because we covered yesterday in Ed Davies' sort of revenge tour video, there is what is called the Waitrose woman, who hates all this Tory infighting, hates a lot of the corruption, Partygate, etc. Go watch that video to sort of learn more about that archetype that they've created. That is going to be even more turned off by these squabbles. And oh boy, are they squabbling. And like I say, don't you just love to see it? So, as always, before we do go getting more into this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, as always, there is the Patreon page down below. There's the Buy Me Coffee link where you can buy me coffee. There's the Pony Club. And of course, there's the YouTube thank you button as well. So thank you very much to everyone who does support the channel. And of course, you can always click the like and share button as well. So, as always, let's crack on into this to take a look at this, because this is the map that we are going to be talking about, and one person in particular on this map. But you can see the number of these Tory MPs that have done some runners down south. So you've got Crewe and Natwich with Cara Mullen running all the way to Bexhill and Battle. That's a long way for a Tory MP to move from the sort of Welsh border-ish area right down to the south coast. That's quite a move. That's quite a move indeed. Then we've had a mover from Haywood and Middleton by Chris Claxon to Stratford on Avon. We've had Stuart Andrew moved from Pudsey to Daventry. And then we've got the Penrith and Border from Neil Hudson moving from, again, near the Scottish borders all the way down to Epping Forest. That is a pretty big move. But the big move that is igniting a lot of, Tory anger, and of course, as we'll see in a moment, a refusal from the local party to even go out and campaign for him is, of course, the move of Richard Holden from Northwest Durham all the way down to Basildon and Bill Kelly. And that's how you say it. But oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Things indeed can only get worse for Rishi Sunak, because guess what? The local Conservatives sent a letter complaining about this move to CCHQ, demanding that a special general meeting takes place to consider removing him. Now, remember, Richard Holden is the guy who is running the general election campaign for all the Tories. Like, he's in charge of running this campaign. And quite honestly, he really isn't doing that good a job at the moment. But this is the last thing that he needs, that Rishi Sunak needs, that the Tory party needs, that if you are going to have this type of flare-up, how many other flare-ups could we see of this also potentially happen, maybe even in the coming couple of days, or just see local Conservatives go, well, he's not our candidate, we didn't really want for him, so I'm not going to sort of do that anymore. I'm not going to go and campaign for the Conservatives, or I'm going to go over to the next seat and campaign for that local Conservative. That's going to cause big problems. Anyway, this is what what the chairman said. So they said this. So, dear chairman, I am writing to request an immediate emergency special general meeting to consider the following motion: that this meeting of the members of Basildon and Bill Kelly Conservative Association does not confirm the selection and adoption of Richard Holden as a prospective parliamentary candidate for the Basildon and Bill Kelly constituency. I can confirm that the above motion uses wording similar to that used by CCHQ themselves for a similar motion that members voted upon elsewhere, thus proving that the motion is all valid and the procedure for a confirmatory vote of members has been set. I believe we should immediately start the process of selecting a new prospective parliamentary candidate. Bit late because you've missed the deadline. Bit late for that. But gets even worse, because there have been several standoffs reported just like this in many other constituencies, including Great Yarmouth, Portsmouth South, East Motley, and Northern Aberdeen as well. Bill Kelly in Basildon, we're talking about. But this is one of the interesting ones, because we've actually had the leader of the Tory group on the Basildon Council had this to say, which gets interesting for this as well. He said, "We know that we've needed we know that the seat needed a candidate since last October, and CCHQ have completely fobbed us off for months. And even last night, on Tuesday, we were told that we would have a group of at least 3 candidates to choose from." And this is where it gets a bit naughty of them. He continues by saying, "This morning, everything had changed. The imposition of a candidate on the good folk of Basildon and Bill Kelly is absolutely shameful. From the get-up, it now appears that the candidate's department had been less than honest with the officers of our association, and their attitude seemed borderline arrogant." Ooh, not very good things happening in the Tory party there. But again, don't you just love to see it? The executive had a very clear criteria for the preferred candidate, and the imposed candidate possesses none of them. It is a complete slap in the face to local councillors, volunteers, and the membership. We need a Conservative here, and local members should be trusted to know what that means and be able to select democratically who they want to represent them. I will be discussing this with my fellow members to try and work out the next steps, and we certainly will not accept this without a fight. So, what was the cheeky trick that they used? What did they use on this? Well, CCHQ went to the association saying, "Oh, here's your candidate list of all these candidates." And of course, when the local party looked at it, went, "Hold on, there's just one name on the list. What do you expect to choose from of these candidates when there's only one name on that list, and it's Richard Holden?" So they did not get a choice effectively in this. And this is something you are seeing a conversation not only just take place between internally in the Conservative Party, but in the Labour Party as well, about how candidates are selected. But it's happening in all parties. Do not think that this is just a one party issue. This is happening in all parties. And this is partly because they parties are generally struggling to actually get good candidates, especially good local candidates. It is incredibly difficult to actually get good candidates, and that's what a party wants most. But this has now sort of resulted in more parachuting and things like this into sort of seats. So this isn't just a problem you're seeing in the Conservatives; it's happening in Labour, Lib Dems. Every single party is having this issue, but it does, like I say, flare up from time to time. And in particular, this case, this has now resulted in that local Conservative Party refusing to go out and canvass or do anything for Richard Holden. And this ain't the only seat from what was just said there where this could be happening. And if you've not got your people to go out and help you canvass, good luck. Good luck. But we'll see what happens, of course, come election night. Like I say, maybe we'll need to keep an eye on some of these seats where we've had some of these chicken runners too, to see who keeps on, who maybe sort of loses their seat. Like I say, you can all see them though running from the north down into the south, safe Tory heartland as far as they possibly can. But there you go. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Do remember to click the like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below, there's the Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, the Pony Club down below. So, as always, until then, we'll see you all next time.